from the Ticats Audio Network. This is Ticats Today with Louie Butko.
Yes, it is Ticats Today for a Monday, July the 4th, 2022. Happy Independence Day to all our American listeners and friends, especially our friend Luke Tasker, friend of the show, the American in our Ticats Audio Network family. So happy July 4th to him and his family, but to everyone as well. And hopefully you had a nice, relaxing Canada Day weekend, despite the way it started on Canada Day Friday night. Yeah, Ticats lose a heartbreaker to the Edmonton Elks. And we were having some technical issues, so I was hoping to get you Coach O and Dane and Simone as they spoke after the game, but we've tried several times. I've tried uploading this podcast several times. It sounds fine on my computer, but when it finally gets to your ears, it doesn't work. So I'm encouraging you to go check out what Dane, Simone, and Coach O had to say. Just go to ticats.ca for that, because yeah, I mean that was a heartbreaker. Ticats lose, and there's a lot to get into, and we're going to do it with RJ Broadhead coming up in just a little bit. But there's something. Something's got to change, and we heard that many times. Got to be better. That's something we heard many times as well. And I know it's the bye week, so just a programming note, we won't be at practice because there is no practice. But we'll be bringing you daily content right here on the Ticats Audio Network, including Ticats Today, because I apparently didn't negotiate it in my CBA that I get to take time off during the bye week. So you're stuck with me. Just like you're stuck with me on weekends on CHCH. You're stuck with me all week on Ticats Today. As mentioned, we were hoping to hear from Dane, Simone, and Coach, but because of some technical issues, I can't get that going. So let's get right into it with RJ Broadhead. And RJ, there was a very palpable mood on Friday night after that Ticats game, wasn't there?
Yes. Yeah. Not the mood you want on Canada Day. First time in the Made in the Hammer uniforms. Everything seemed to be going pretty well until the second half. And it's a recurring story, Louie, that these second halves have not been good for the Tiger Cats. Heavily outscored. They turned the ball over. It got quiet at Tim Hortons Field, which is not normal. As soon as Edmonton tied the game, you could just see in everybody's face, please don't let this second half collapse happen again. And it did. Another double-digit lead evaporated for the Tiger Cats, turning the ball over. Jeff Girardat, you know Jeff, he's our statistician. He went through with the turnovers. It's very interesting. So 15 turnovers already in 4 games. Last year, they only had 20. So 13 of those 15 have come in the second half. You go back to game 1 against Saskatchewan, first 2 possessions, Ticats turned the ball over. Maybe that was an ominous beginning to the season as it turned out, but those are the only 2 turnovers in the opening half. 9 of their turnovers have come in the fourth quarter. The timing has just been terrible, and teams are capitalizing, and that has to change soon. Like July 16th soon against Ottawa.
Yeah, and we were talking about it with Coach last week. We asked him, are these turnovers that your receivers should be making? Are they passes that maybe Dane shouldn't be throwing? And he kind of just shrugged his shoulders and said, there's a lot of bad luck involved in these turnovers. But it's one of those things where bad luck manifests more bad luck, because that's what it really feels like, where it's just a series of breaks that the Ticats don't have go their way, and then the proverbial wheels fall off the bus.
Yeah, you're right. And I was with you talking to Coach O about that. And another thing he said is you work hard, you do the right things, and those breaks will turn around. Well, they didn't in the last game. Edmonton had 29 points. 17 of those came off turnovers. And I did a couple of calculations. 44% of the points, so close to half of the points that the Tiger Cats have allowed this season, have come off of turnovers. It was a story at the start of 2021. They cleaned it up. They wound up with the fewest turnovers all season, but they had 9 interceptions in 14 games last year. They have 8 interceptions already, and yeah, they're getting some bad bounces. Balls are going right off a receiver to a defensive player and turns into an easy interception. But Those balls have to be caught. They just can't turn the ball over. It comes down to that, and it has to change. I know it's frustrating for the coaches, the players. We know the players, Louie. They're all pros, and they don't want to make those mistakes, and they want to bounce back. And maybe sometimes they're doing too much, trying to get yards after the catch before they secure that football. Anyway, we've talked about this for 4 games. It has to change immediately.
Yeah, and we heard it from Coach. We heard it from Dane. We heard it from Simone after the game, too. They know that something's got to give. Dane mentioned he's never been 0-4 in his life, in any sport that he's ever played. And you and Coach have something in common. You both like to look at the seasons into thirds. And again, I was there when you asked him that question. He said, yeah, absolutely. So let's look at this. Let's take a step back. Big picture, the Ticats played 4 games against the West to start the season. 2 of those games on the road in very difficult places to play in Saskatchewan and Winnipeg. You win those games, it's bonus. You probably expected to win the game against Edmonton and expected to win the game against Calgary. Either way, I'm trying to make it look nice. And 0-4 is not the end of the world, but for fans, it might feel like it. Where do you see this Ticats team at 0-4 right now?
Louie, it's funny because going into that Edmonton game, I had zero concern at all, but I felt that was a game that the Tiger Cats should win. Edmonton was also winless. They had a rookie quarterback, and congratulations to Trey Ford from Niagara Falls, University of Waterloo. He played solid, but going into that game, he had 1 completion in the CFL for 8 yards. So I really thought that this is a game that's ripe for the pickings for the Tiger Cats. So after the game, I started to have some concern. However, the Tiger Cats keep getting help from West Division teams. Saskatchewan beats Montreal. We'll see what happens between Toronto and Winnipeg. That's a tough game for the Argonauts, of course. We all know Bombers, 2-time defending champions of the Grey Cup. So it is 0-4. But the Tiger Cats are still 1 win out of first place, tied for first place in the East Division. It's crazy how poor the start has been for the Tiger Cats as far as the record is concerned, but it is not catastrophic. They're still in the mix. They just have to win those East Division games, and it has to start on July 16th, and maybe the bye comes at a good time. Let them fester with this 0-4 start and regain motivation. They're loaded with leaders. You know they're going to turn it around, and sometimes it's funny. Nobody in the East has run away with it, so it's still right there. As bad as it's been, it's not the end of the world. 1 win against Ottawa, and Tiger Cats could potentially be right back first or right there.
Yeah. 7 out of their 8 next games are against the East Division, and a big opportunity to move up in the standings. You mentioned it's not the end of the world. The sky isn't falling. The sun rose this morning, which is always great to see. But there have been some positives, and they may have been overlooked because of some of the struggles on the field, or at least on the in the standings. What has stood out to you among a positive, maybe from this game or from the first 4 weeks of the season? Give us a reason to be optimistic here, RJ.
For sure. And it's funny how, we just always tend to look at negatives, but you're right. There have been a lot of positives. Lawrence Woods really stands out to me. He's become one of the return threats in the CFL. That was a great 72-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. So he's been excellent on defense. Jovan Santos Knox has really emerged as a force at middle linebacker for the Tiger Cats. So he's been a nice addition. I think Michael Darmagal has been solid. The defense has been good. The special teams has been good. Simon Laurier's come in, punting, and of course, so many great special teams players on the Tiger Cats. Really, the other teams haven't had any significant returns. So those 2 aspects of the football have been very good. Statistically on offense, Dane has put up some good passing numbers. It's just timely turnovers that can't happen. That has to change. Tim White, he's been fun to watch. Last 3 games, he's been their leading receiver. Stephen Dunbar looks like he's going to be a touchdown machine, a big target for Dane Evans in the end zone. I would like to see Braylon Addison targeted a little bit more and being more the offense. However, we know he was banged up. He was a game-time decision before the Winnipeg game, so he might not have been at 100% in the past 2 games. Maybe this bye week gives him a little opportunity to get back closer to 100%, and maybe he will be used a little more, but I would like to see that. But to me, the defense and the special teams has been great. The offense has had flashes. Wes Hills, he got their most rushing yards. I'd like to see that running game get going a little bit more. But there's time. There's time. It's 0-4. They can do it. But to answer your question, I'm special teams and defense. You can't really criticize what they've done.
No, and full credit to obviously Coach Washington on the defense, but Coach Butler, first-year special teams coordinator, making the jump from positional coach to a coordinator. So he's been doing a really good job, and you saw him on the sidelines after that Lawrence Woods, because even when they took that second call, you're like, really, you got good field position already. And that's why I don't question Coach Joe, because I'm like, well, why not just tack on the penalty at the end of the run? Because he knew that Lawrence Woods III was going to take it back 70 yards for an unreal touchdown. Before we let you go, RJ, how are you spending your bye week?
I'm actually going back to my home province of Saskatchewan. I haven't seen my dad in almost 3 years because of COVID. So I'm going to get back. I'm actually emceeing an event in Melville, Saskatchewan for the Melville Millionaires of the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. Their head coach and general manager, I used to call games for the Kindersley Clippers, and he used to coach there. So he's wrangled me up to head back and see some familiar faces, but it's a good fundraiser for the team. So I'm doing a little traveling, and I'll wear the Tiger Cats gear. I'll be very brave walking into Saskatchewan wearing that, but I'll say the same things. It's 0-4, but hey, it's the East Division.
I looked at my watch there because you probably have to be at the airport. If your flight leaves tomorrow, you'll probably have to be there in about an hour or so. I know at CHCH we've been talking all weekend about the delays at the airport. So good luck, sir. I don't envy you at all choosing or getting to do. Well, I do envy you getting to go somewhere, but going to the airport is not on the list of things I want to do this week. But
I hear you.
RJ, it's always great to get your perspective on the game. Thank you for doing this.
Anytime, Louie.
My thanks to RJ Broadhead for joining me today, and my thanks to you as well, because we could not do the show without your support, and we appreciate it. And make sure you comment or leave a review or like us or subscribe if you don't, or send us to a friend. That would be fun too. If you know somebody who likes the Ticats and you enjoy what you're listening to, pass it along, because we do the show for you, but we do it for all Ticats fans. That's why it's called Ticats Today. And speaking of Ticats Today, we're here all week despite the bye week, but make sure you check back throughout the week for special content as we get a break from the players, or I guess more fittingly, the players get a break from us. We're back tomorrow right here on the Ticats Audio Network. I'm Louie Butko, hoping you have a great day.
Ticats Today can be heard every weekday, and we would like to hear from you. Email us at gameday@ticats.ca. Have a question or an opinion? We want to hear it. That's gameday@ticats.ca. Subscribe to the Ticats Audio Network on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.